because it will pay off. I had one of my dear friends, I did her health assessment back in July, and she's starting program tomorrow, finally. And just being consistent. I've had 4 people join this month so far, a few more on the hook, and if I can get just one more, I'll hit ED. So just being consistent and not giving up.
That's very exciting. I love that you, in leading in your own health journey, you're leading the front for so many other people to come along and join you and get healthy with you. That's so fun, Barbara.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Anybody else? We'll give just a couple more minutes for non-scale victories or something that you've been learning through the Habits of Health. Maybe you've listened to some of the Habits of Health calls even and learned something that's moving you forward. Yeah, consistency is so
I'll go. I'm in a public setting, so that's why I wasn't going to share. I just typed in the thing, but a couple weeks ago, I think, we talked about that, the new comfort list, which that kind of blew my mind. Like, I had never thought about that before, but I've had multiple opportunities to share that with people, whether it was another coach or client or whatever. But man, that's just a game changer, and so everybody can relate to that. So that was awesome.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that you put on your comfort menu? For those of you that don't know what Danielle's referring to, we were kind of talking a couple of weeks ago about emotional eating. And so it's like, we tend to go to that when we're seeking comfort, we're seeking, we're eating out of boredom or loneliness or different things. And so to then know and identify, okay, by eating this is not going to fill me and satisfy that need. So what can I actually put that will move me forward in my health journey and create that comfort that I'm seeking? And so we created like a comfort menu. What are a couple of things you added, Danielle?
I think it depends on the situation. So at least at this point, I think mine is mostly stress eating. So, the kids are in bed and I'm like, yes, time to eat something that they're not sharing. But but I think, it depends on the situation. So I would love to get outside and go for a run, but now that it's like negative 27 degrees here, that's just not happening. But that's definitely, I can say, one of them is, battery. One of them is I go to the gym. Like lifting, to me, I don't really do cardio, but lifting is like my favorite stress reliever. So I'm like, hey kids, load up, we're headed to the gym. So that's one of them probably I do most often, but sometimes it's just, I don't know, go call a friend, or just have that emotional connection that sometimes, no offense, but men don't have. It's just not the same. So,
Luke's on here.
So yeah, those are a couple, I think.
That's awesome. Did anybody else from that call create a new comfort menu or add anything to your list of go-tos when you're feeling that wave of emotion come up and you want to turn to the food, but instead you have that comfort menu to pull from? I'd love to hear anybody else. Did you come up with any new?
I'm going to give everybody one of mine
that's true.
in a little bit.
All right. Well, if nobody else is wanting to share, again, always pop it in the chat. We want this to be very fun, very interactive with everybody. I realized I did not even introduce myself. We just jumped right in. But I'm Meghan Ren, certified health coach.
I'm Brandon Ren.
We love these Monday nights where we get to just gather together. We want to just continue to create a really intimate environment with everybody to feel comfortable and confident sharing, but to also meet your friends, meet your people of others that are on this, journey together. Like Christine was saying, it's so much more fun when you're on a health journey like this to do it with friends and to find other partners to do it with. So we're hoping you guys build some great community and great friendships from this, and meet people at either, similar places in their journey, or just getting started, or have been, in kind of that optimization phase, we call it, for, years. I did the program about 4 years ago. So I still pull every week from you guys, because some of you are just getting started, and it helps me to kind of remember, like, oh yeah, that's where I was. That I wasn't fitting in anything in my closet, and I didn't have the energy to play with my kids. And now here 4 years later, it's so fun, and it's so rejuvenating every single time we get together to just know that I want to continue to propel myself that much further on this journey. But Yeah, well, tonight
Hey,
we have a special. Oh, go for it, Margie. Yeah.
Hi. Two things, habits of health. One is I heard some time ago when I first got started as a coach how it might be a good idea to go on the 5-in-1 yourself again, just to see what it's like. And so my husband just started it, and so I'm doing it with him. And I'm absolutely loving the unity that it brings the two of us together, being on the same page. I love shopping in the grocery store and just going around to meat and vegetables, and that's it, not going down the cereal and juice aisles. And then a habit of health that I learned this week that I really liked was I love the Wednesday night teachings, and Shirley was talking about how when we hit what we call a plateau, that stress can do that, but I didn't know that it could be happy stress too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was new information to me. But well, I've had some stress in my life recently, and I've been on a plateau, and I've just been so puzzled because I'm doing everything by the book. And so I realized mine's not happy stress, but that is something that could be it as well. So that's all I wanted to share.
Such a good point, Margie. I was chatting with somebody about that earlier, that yeah, especially for us women in particular, when we are feeling that stress, our bodies start releasing cortisol and extra stress hormones, which actually can cause our bodies to hang on and hold on to that weight instead of efficiently and effectively burning it. And so that's why it's always so great sometimes if you are hitting a little bit of that plateau to recognize, okay, is there any like stress that's creeping up in my life that I'm not properly coping with, to continue to be moving forward. And so actually Brandon here is going to even chat about one of his great coping strategies.
I probably use it multiple times a day. So
sure does.
If anybody doesn't know, I'm a physical therapist as well. And in my clinic, I see tons of people that are going through transitions, whether it's from injuries, or car accidents or something like that. And usually the first thing I recommend is getting people moving. If you don't have the movement, you can't really, if you don't have the right movement, you don't have the flexibility, then you can't grow and ending up into some sort of resistance training program. And what I've seen through health coaching is as people transition from heavier bodies to a smaller frame and everything, their body and their joints all still feel like they're like they have that phantom weight probably, right? Your body is set up a certain way to handle that kind of weight. And when you lose that weight, your body can handle different motions. So what I want to talk about tonight is something that fits into the 5-in-1, but this is something that can be good forever. You don't really ever have to stop this. And what I'm basically talking about is stretching. And if you look into Dr. A's Habits of Health, it's like chapter 15 and 16. And then at the end of the book, there's some pictures of Lori Anderson doing some stretches. Appendix E, E for exercise. And that's basically what I wanted to talk about. For comfort, for me, in a lot of cases when I'm feeling stressed, Megan and I have started breathing exercises and everything, and this is something that you can do while you're stretching. If you've been on 5-in-1 for a certain amount of time, a couple of weeks where your body is used to dipping into fat stores and everything in your body, and you can go and handle some extra motion, this fits in great. So it's not intense or anything like that. It doesn't require hardly any props, although I'm going to show you one prop that I recommend. All you really need is the floor. And you need to be able to get on and off the floor on purpose. Is what I ask my patients sometimes. Can you do it on purpose? And they say, I can get down there, but I don't know if I'll be able to get back up. So if you can't get on and off the floor, you can get on and off the bed, right? So that's another place that you can do it. And if you have any pain, you want to be careful of that. So I'm kind of speaking generally. If you have back pain, then you can try some of these, but I don't want you guys to push yourself into more pain. None of them should be that painful anyway. So just listen to your body. I'm not going to give you any stretches to do, but in some cases, chest muscles can get extremely tight. And so, and upper back muscles can get extremely tight, right? When you think about it, our postures kind of here. And this doesn't happen just when you're overweight. This happens at a desk job. This happens at sitting in a car and driving or something like that. So chest muscles can get tight, back muscles can get tight. Your thoracic spine kind of has this curvature as well. That leads to lower back pain and then hip pain, the side, so glute muscles, and then your hip flexor muscles. And I've kind of shown people a few stretches where it sort of gets everything at one time. And so the prop I want to recommend is a foam roll. This one is way too short, but this is still something that you can use. Muscles need a little bit of help. Usually if there's a circulation component, like if you're out taking a walk, when your muscles are warmer, your muscles are going to be able to stretch a little bit easier after a hot shower or a hot tub or something like that. Your muscles are going to stretch a lot easier. So to use this foam roll, you're going to roll it through some muscles. I like to use it on my legs. I do not ever recommend it for the low back, but I do recommend it for the upper back and along the sides of your arm. I'll use this one because everybody can see my arm. So rubbing it through here and just laying on the ground and using it. There's some YouTube videos to show you how to use this. A lot of personal trainers know how to use these too if you have a personal trainer. But there's a lot of really good stretches to, I would encourage you guys to kind of feel what muscles are tight and go ahead and find in the book some stretches to do. I guess I should have shown you some of these, but hot spots for people, you're usually their chest muscles, their upper back muscles, and their hip flexors. Those are major, usually tight areas. And so it doesn't really burn a lot of calories, but as you lay on the floor and you're doing some of these stretches, or you lay on your bed, and sometimes just laying on the ground flat on your back and just kind of feeling what parts of your back touch the ground. If you lay there for a while, or you use one of these foam rolls, you lay on top of it, it will kind of adjust your body. And then as you lay back down on the ground again, you're going to feel more of your back in contact with the floor. And that just means your back isn't as rounded. I spend a lot of time with backs because it usually gets thrown up into the head, neck pain, or down into the lower back and down into the hips, and it changes your whole way of walking and moving and everything. So call them floor breaks. That's what I used to take when I was in graduate school, laying on the floor, raising my arms above my head, and then maybe bringing up my knees and going from one side to the other side. These are all very, very gentle stretches that you can start trying. And obviously that's not the end of it, but that's all I'm going to talk about tonight is stretching and getting some elasticity back into your muscles, because they've been tight for as long as you've been carrying around the weight. Your body is such an efficient tool that it finds the best way to carry all of that weight. And as you've lost it, which is great, it's time to start strengthening and to start stretching certain muscles. And so maybe we'll get into another.
Yeah, we can do another short video demo and then post it in our client page for you guys to see. Very
easy stretches to do. And like I said, a foam roll or like a yoga mat for the ground. And if you just lay on the floor and raise your hands above your head, it's a great stretch for your upper back. So I hope you guys find that. And when you're done, you feel, and you're breathing this whole time, you feel pretty good. Most of it's from the breathing, but some of it's from just when you are able to stand up straight again, you can get oxygen back into your lungs again, and everything is just centered, I feel like. And so, I hope you guys find that and put it on your menu in order to get some relaxation. And in some cases, as you're breathing, and maybe stop challenging and choosing in your mind. Like when you get up after 90 seconds of doing that, if you get up and you just have probably more strength and a lot more confidence to keep going. So I hope that was helpful.
Such a great tip. And I remembered even from my military days, there were so many people that would get up and take smoke breaks. Obviously, I'm not a proponent of that. But what I learned from that is that they would get up pretty often from their desk, like every hour, every two, and go outside. And what they were actually doing that I would be a big proponent of is getting some fresh air. They're not getting it with cigarettes, but you get the idea of taking that break. And what I love what Brandon was saying is, like, sometimes it might be a floor break, and it just reminds you to take like 10 really deep breaths in. So you get that air to your lungs, but you also get the air and oxygen into your brain. So you can be continually thinking clear, having that mental clarity for your work day, for your if you're at home with your kids,
Yep.
like I am, to just be thinking clear and making better choices all throughout your day. But we actually have a really, really special guest speaker tonight, Eiling, dear friend of mine. I actually I met Eiling through another coach on our team, and she has just become this really beautiful ray of light to me. I feel like when you get next to her, you're like closer to the sun, because she's just so shiny and bright and just makes you feel so warm. But Eileen, you've had and just hit amazing milestones. So I thought your story would be so encouraging and inspiring for everybody. Do you want to pop off and share a little bit?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, hi, everybody. It's nice to see you guys tonight. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me, but I think that's normal, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I'll start and tell you, I think I know some of you, so I looked through the list. So I'm going to focus on those of you that I know, because that'll make me feel a little less nervous. I started this journey June 18th of 2017. And when I started, I was 258 pounds. I'm about 5 foot half an inch, so that's a lot of weight to carry on a pretty small frame. I felt like I had tried everything. I worked with a dietitian for 2.5 years, had a little bit of success with weight loss, but not a lot. And I didn't believe my coach, Liz, when she said that it could work for me, but I told her I would trust her, just enough to see that it would work. Like most of us, I was pretty darn skeptical. So, so far, in about 7 months now, I've lost 78 pounds. And there have been some really, really neat gains, I think, in my, I'll start with my physical health. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. My resting pulse rates that used to run in the low 80s are now in the mid 60s. I'm a nurse, so I kind of geek out on the data of things. My blood pressure, typically the top number, systolic number, ran in the 130s. And then my bottom number of my blood pressure was in the low 90s. Last check, just last week, was 108/66. My blood sugar is stable, and I know that because I feel like I have control over my food choices for the first time in my life. I can walk by sweets. I can walk by the things that used to hold so much power over me, and I'm using my brain to make that decision, and I don't feel pulled the way I used to. And I think that was going on the 5 and 1 has been so amazing for me, because that's when I realized it wasn't my fault. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many of you have felt this way, or I know how many of my clients, after I became a health coach, I've learned that we blame ourselves. Mm-hmm. But our biochemistry is working against us. And so that, to me, I carried, and I think even maybe a little bit still, so much shame for letting myself get to the point where I carried that much weight. And I now know that at the end of the day, I don't think it was all my fault. Yes, habits play into it. And yes, I made decisions that weren't great for me. But you know what? That blood sugar piece, it's powerful. So that's been really, really cool. Other things, I have had, this is kind of embarrassing, but we're on a call. This is not the world, right? I've had elevated prolactin. We haven't known why for about 5 years. It's a female hormone, and I haven't known what to do to make it better, and neither has my doctor, other than giving me a drug to get it to go down, which the side effects were worse than the actual symptoms of the elevation. And so I had labs yesterday, or not yesterday, but last week when I had my blood pressure taken. It is the lowest it has been in 5 years and only 10 points away from normal. Mm-hmm. And this is something not even my doctor knows how to fix. And 7 months of good nutrition means I'm almost there. So, and it's a hormone that when elevated, I still don't know if I want to have kids, but it can affect my ability to conceive. So if I do, that's just one less hurdle I'll have to jump over, which is really, really cool. I saw my doctor last week. She said something to me that really, really meant a lot. And what she said to me is, the person I see in front of me is somebody who's taken control of their health and refuses to be a victim of what life throws your way. And you know, life's going to throw things our way all the time. Not one of us are immune to those difficult things. But leaning into the structure of this program has been huge. And I'm not perfect, you know, like I don't always drink my water the way I should, right? I'm not perfect on timing when I get distracted. But at the end of the day, leaning back into that structure, it's given me a feeling of safety and a feeling of freedom with food that I haven't ever had. I don't obsess over food anymore. And that's been really, really amazing. So the next thing I want to talk about for me has been the emotional aspect of my journey. For me, that's been huge. I have turned to food for times of comfort over and over and over again in my life. I watched my mom do it. I watched my family do it. I watched my friends do it. We watch our culture do it, you guys, like every day. I don't think you can get away from it, right? And one of the things that I've learned throughout this journey is when you are eating in structure, all of a sudden you have to feel your feelings. Mm-hmm. And it's been quite the journey to learn that. I've spent a lot of time in tears, including on Facebook Live, for God's sake. And one of the things that I have learned is that each time I come up with one of those kind of stages of having to work through emotion, it's an invitation for growth instead of an invitation to run. I have run my whole life. I'm a runner. I'm really good at it. Maybe not physically, but I am good at checking out when I don't want to feel those feelings. And working with my coach, leaning into this healthy community has shown me that it's safe. It is okay to feel what you need to feel, because that's the way that you don't turn back to food, is that friend. And so the one thing, though, that's been interesting to me about that is as I work through those emotions, each time my weight loss slows. And Megan, you just talked about that, kind of that cortisol cycle, right? And in the past, I would have used that as an excuse to fall back in my habits. And I think what's different this time is I have learned to say, you know what? My body's just doing its job. It's saying you're under stress in a different way. You're under stress in your mindset. It's creating some stress in your body. The nutrition is still doing its job. Yeah. But the scale is just slower. And I'm not in this journey for the quick fix. Mm-hmm. I'm in this journey for the long haul. And so this month in particular, I have averaged about 10 to 12 pounds a month loss throughout my journey. This month, I've only lost 4 pounds. And it's been interesting because I haven't let that get me down. I'm going through a lot of stress, but you know what? It's good stress. I'm coaching full time, something new and different, and I'm taking a leap of faith. I'm dating, you guys, for the first time in 4 years. My routines are different. The people I'm spending time with are different. It's not even bad stress. So that thing you were just talking about from the call tonight, there's nothing that's bad, but it's scary. And it's a lot of new things. But the thing I have held on to throughout this whole journey is when I'm scared, when I'm nervous, and when I'm anxious, it means to walk closer. It doesn't mean to run. I wish I would have figured that out a long time ago, but I know that there are many people way older than me that still haven't figured that out. Yep. So if you're looking for some inspiration, that's my invitation to you. When you're feeling that stuff, even though it sucks to feel it, walk closer, find that way, hold the hand of somebody next to you so that you've got somebody with you, but don't run. It's the quickest way to get past it, is to go through it. So it's hard, and see, here I am crying again. But pressure means growth. Fear means to come closer, and I just hope I never forget that, because I think that's what will continue to propel my healthy habits forward for the rest of my life. So I think that's what I have to share tonight. Thank you guys for listening. And there's so many people on this call that I admire, and you guys sharing your health journey and what you go through has paved the way for what has changed my life in the last 7 months in a way that I couldn't have imagined 7 months ago. So thanks.
So awesome, Eileen. We adore you and just are so proud of you. And I know every time you share your story, right, there's like different layers of it and different pieces. Yeah. It's this whole level of bravery, but that's also, I'm guessing, where your breakthrough is also going to continue to come, because you're being bold and sharing it and bringing all of this to light. And so it's like, yeah, you're in that refiner's fire right now, but you can be a gem at the end of it.
I hope so.
Yeah, and what we've learned, again, the hard way sometimes, right, is all the things that you're being challenged with usually will make you uniquely equipped to help somebody else just on the other side of it. And a lot of times that's what we've learned is, as I'm like feeling something so intensely and I'm like, gosh, why am I feeling this? And then it's like, sure enough, like the next week or so, I'm having a conversation with somebody that needed that exact breakthrough. So I would challenge all of you. Yeah. I mean, as we're not numbing any of these feelings, right? We're all feeling the feels to just exactly continue to lean into that. And know that your breakthrough is also going to mean breakthrough probably for somebody else on the other side of it. And that will continue to reinforce your own breakthrough. So we are pretty much like right on the dot of 6 o'clock tonight. If anybody else wanted to share anything, feel free. But otherwise, we'll let you guys go until next Monday. But oh man, Eileen, you need to go back through and read some of these comments because you were blowing up the chat with people just so proud of you. Yeah, awesome. Well, we love you guys, and we're so excited to see you all next Monday. And yeah, let's keep this going. We'll be excited to hear about next week's progress and what you learned, how you're growing, what non-scale victories you had. Well, again, I'll do a little video demo of some of the stretches since it's kind of hard on this little tiny computer screen. But hopefully that was helpful and valuable for you guys all to just remember. Look at that comfort menu, take some of those breaks throughout the day, get some deep, like 10 deep breaths in, even if that's the biggest thing that you start working into your habits too.
Deep cleansing breaths.
Exactly. But awesome, you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.